So at this time, 1923, he's completed Faculty of Arts. He's completed his A-levels. So he was about 16, 17 years old.
Yes, yes.
And so his grandmother, Jay Kaur,
Yeah.
she wanted him to get married at this time.
Yes.
What were his thoughts about marriage? How did he feel?
But he had already decided not to get married because, as I said, he had two aunts at home. He had already seen them how two ladies were suffering at home right from his childhood. They used to cry and they used to ask, "Did you get any letter from your Chachaji?" Because in those days, the postman used to leave all the letters in the school, not to take every home.
Men of the village would have to
So
go.
every day Chachi used to ask, "Did you get any letter from your Chachaji?" And he said no. He would say no. And then she will cry. And the other Chachi used to cry most of the time because she had become widow. They were only in their 20s, both of them. So Bhagat Singh had seen all the suffering, and he didn't want the third one in the house like that.
Yeah,
So he had already decided not to marry. And when Bhagat Singh was very young, Bhagat Singh had an elder brother. His name was Bhagat Singh. So his grandfather had their Janau Sanskar, which is Hindus do it at the very early age. And he had said that I am giving both my grandsons for the sake of country. So that's why Bhagat Singh reminded his father that I am fulfilling that pledge which was taken by my grandfather, and I'm leaving home. I will read the letter which he left for his father. In 1923, Bhagat Singh's father, Sardar Kishan Singh, was seriously trying to get his son married. When Bhagat Singh came to know of it, he quietly left the home and left this letter for his father. "Respected father, namaste. My life has already been committed to a noble cause, the cause of the freedom of India. For that reason, comforts and worldly desires have no attraction in my life. You must be remembering that at the time of my sacred thread ceremony, when I was quite young, Bapuji, grandfather in bracket, had declared that I was being pledged for the service of the country. I am therefore honoring the pledge of that time. I hope you will excuse me. Yours obediently, Bhagat Singh." So that was the letter he left, and he went to Kanpur. And there he met several other revolutionaries. He worked for Pratap newspaper with Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi and stayed there for about 6 months. Then his grandmother, Jai Kaur, was very, very ill. She thought I was the one who asked for him to get married. And because of me, he had to leave home. So she was very ill. So I'm saying my, anyway, so Bhagat Singh's father put an advertisement in the paper that do come back, we will not ask you to get married. And then after 6 months, Bhagat Singh came back.
Came back home. So we were talking about Pratap newspaper. This was a daily publication.
Yes.
And Bhagat Singh used the name as Balwant.
Balwant, yes.
to
He
publish.
didn't tell his name there. He was writing under the name of Balwant.
And then there was also a monthly newspaper called Kirti newspaper.
Kirti and several others, Maharati in Delhi and Veer Arjun in Delhi. He has worked for several papers in between 1923 to 1928. He has been
read very well. And it was when he was in Kanpur that he met some of his associates and mentors, like Chandrasekhar Azadji, Ajay Ghosh, and at the time Ram Prasad Bisnell was in jail at the time.
Yes.
So these were mentors to him. So what kind of influences do you think these people in history had upon Bhagat Singh? How were they as his mentors?
Well, they were all colleagues, isn't it?
Yeah. Brilliant. And at the time,
I mean, Chandrasekhar Azad was the leader of the party, so he was very well respected by everyone, and any decisions were taken, they were taken unanimously. Not one person was not taking the decision, so all the members were equal in the party. Obviously, some were in front, more in front, and some were at the back.
and this society at the time was known as the HRA, the Hindustan Republic.
Yes, Hindustan Republican Association.
So who were they? For some audience members that don't know at the time what they were. So before Bhagat Singh was mainly a sort of part of that, who was the HRA?
In HRA, HRA was established by Sachindranath Sanyal. He was a Bengali leader. He had been to transportation of life in Andaman, and in 1920 he came back, and then he started working from Punjab because he could not go to Bengal, so he was most of the time in Punjab. And Bhagat Singh, when he was in National College, he was introduced to Sachindranath Sanyal, and Sanyal once asked him, we need full-time workers for the party. If need be, would you be able to leave home? So Bhagat Singh said yes. So as soon as the opportunity came, the Bhagat Singh's marriage proposal came, he just left home and went, as he has said to Sachindranath Sanyal.
And this is where he met two of his greatest colleagues that people know of today, Sukhdev and Rajguru.
Rajguru was from Maharashtra, from Pune, and he joined the party because in 1928 when
this is where the HRA became the HSRA.
That's right. When the party changed the name to Hindustan Socialist Republican Army, then it was countrywide. It had become countrywide, and a lot of people have joined. A lot of branches of the HSRA were opened, and many other people also joined the
1928, and it was Bhagat Singh that actually changed the name from HRA.
That's
to HSRA.
right, yeah.
And this is where the masses will begin to know really about the cause and the movement that Bhagat Singh was moving with. So he must have been about 20 years old at the time to have been making waves at such length. And I think this is about the time where the National Assembly incident happened.
That was, yes, in 1929. 8th of April 1929.
So there was a National Assembly taking place, and Bhagat Singh and his conspirators went
Bhagat
to the
Singh
National
and
Assembly,
Batukeshwar Dutt.
and they took a bomb with them. They'd learned how to make bombs. But that bomb wasn't to hurt anyone. It was actually thrown into a part of the audience where there was nobody sitting. And the bomb wasn't lethal at all. It was purely the noise and the smoke. So he clearly, his intentions were not to hurt anybody in particular. So why take a bomb to the National Assembly? What was he trying to achieve?
But there were two acts which were going to be passed by the National Legislative Assembly. One was Trade Disputes Bill, and the other one was Public Safety Bill. Both the bills were to restrict people. One was from holding public meetings, which was Public Safety Bill, and the other one was Trade Disputes Bill, to not to have strikes by the laborers in the factories. So they were not passed by the members. So with the Viceroy's ordinance, they were going to be announced that both the bills are passed. On that very day, the party had decided to throw the bomb to make a loud sound to make the deaf hear. So that was the pamphlet which was written to make the deaf hear. at the
he
top.
had a cause. They were trying to create a law that would ban protests openly, and that was dead against what Bhagat Singh was trying to do. He wanted to voice an opinion where we don't want the British rule in our country, and they were trying to make it illegal just to have the protests, just to have those strikes. So that was his cause for being there. And at the time when they threw the bombs, they threw leaflets and pamphlets.
Yes.
All across the country, this message was being spread with leaflets and pamphlets of what the message
So
was.
they said, we have given this loud warning from the masses of India.
They were making themselves heard.
Yeah.
So and now in the next few years that Bhagat Singh, at this time, he was reading a lot of literature, some Russian revolutions such as Lenin, Irish revolutions.
No, actually, when he was in National College Lahore, from 1921 to 23, he had read a lot of books at that time, because all the teachers, professors there, either they were the people who have been in jails for a long time, or they were from they had studied outside in the foreign countries, and they have all the liberal views. So they used to get a lot of good literature, and in the college the students were taught history, political science and economics, and the teachers were very good. They get all the books, and systematically they taught them all the revolutions, Russian Revolution, French Revolution, Italian Revolution, and Ireland ka Swatantrata ka.
So at the age of 18, 19, he was reading deep philosophical literature.
Yes.
And trying to spread words from that. So.
And at the same time, the proscribed books, which were not anymore available in the library, they used to get those as well. And Bhagat Singh used to read quite a lot. The librarian of that Dwarkadas library, Raja Ram Shastri, he had written his memoirs, and he says Bhagat Singh not only used to read books, he used to eat books. Nigal jata tha. So Bhagat Singh used to read a lot and then discuss with his friends, and if he likes any book, he would get it issued again and again, and read it again and again, and remember the paragraphs which are important, and then have discussions with his colleagues. Yes.
Further than that, though, he was also fluent in 4 languages, so he knew English, Hindi, Urdu, and Gurmukhi. So much so that in the book written by Veer Sarvakarji in 1857, he translated from English into Gurmukhi. So for those in his society that perhaps didn't know English, they were able to read from this text.
Yeah, all the writings he has done, it was all done between 1924 to 1928. In 4 years, he had written a lot, he had read a lot, and he had done a lot of work in the Revolutionary Party.
That's great. So all this work that we're talking about. Now, let's look at the angle of his self-proclaimed atheism. Very early on in his life, where he didn't want to do those prayers, in 1926 he wrote a booklet on why he was an atheist. What are your views? How does that change?
It wasn't 1926. It was October 1930. When there was another political prisoner in the jail. His name was Baba Randhir Singh, and he was from Gadar party. He was a very religious man. He used to do prayer every morning and evening. And first of all, he refused to meet Bhagat Singh, saying that Bhagat Singh had cut his hair. I don't want to see him. And Bhagat Singh said that I have done this not for my पेट के लिए नहीं, देश के लिए. I have had my hair cut not for my stomach but for my country, and one day I'm going to have my head chopped off as well. And then Baba Randhir Singh ultimately met him. He came to see him, and in that he said, "You have got so much publicity. You have become a Hankari. So that is why you don't believe in God." So Bhagat Singh said, "This is not what it is." Then he writes in that booklet, "When man tries to stand on his two legs and become a realist, he shall have to throw faith aside and to face manfully all the distress, trouble in which the circumstances may throw him. That is exactly my state of affairs. It is not my vanity, my friend. It is my mode of thinking that has made me an atheist. I don't know whether in my case, belief in God and offering a daily prayers which I consider to be most selfish and degraded act on the part of man, whether these prayers can prove to be helpful or they shall make my case worse still. I have read of atheists facing all troubles quite boldly, so am I trying to stand like a man with an erect head to the last, even on the gallows. Let us see how I carry on." One friend asked me to pray. When informed of my atheism, he said, "During your last days, you will begin to believe." I said, "No, dear sir, it shall not be. That to be an act of degradation and demoralization on my part. For selfish motives, I'm not going to pray. Readers and friends, if this is vanity, if it is so, if it is, I stand for it." So that is what his last words.
He was definitely
yes.
not taken.
Yeah, it's a very big booklet type of thing, 5-6 pages, and he has given such a good reasoning that why he doesn't believe in God.
We've painted this character now.
But yes,
quite serious in producing these texts, but he was also known to be quite jovial. He was into arts and did a bit of song and poetry and.
Yes, he had a very good voice for singing. He used to become very emotional at times, and he was they used to make jokes all the time.
Yeah.
There was Baba Son Singh Bhakna in the jail. He was also a Ghadar party member. When Bhagat Singh and his colleagues were on hunger strike, Babaji also started a hunger strike, and Bhagat Singh told him not to, but Baba Bhakna ji did start, and Bhagat Singh he had tears in his eyes because he didn't want him to suffer as they are.
You could see the dedication of the people that were following him had come in the same manner. So I remember when we spoke before, you told me his favourite sweet dish was rasgulle.
Yes.
It's my favourite too. So if we move
Rasgullas and dahi, doodh, ghee, makhan, everything.
Quite a character. He left an impression on the people around him. And again, this is all happening at the age of sort of 21 to 22 years old.
Yes, yes.
Where perhaps in society today we're not worried about our nation or the freedom or the oppression that we're feeling from the British at the time. So 1929 now, there was an incident that took place that led to Bhagat Singh being arrested and in jail. So Lala Lajpat Rai was at a protest where he was severely injured, and we believe that a few weeks later to that he actually passed away from such atrocities. Bhagat Singh and Sukhdev were feeling slightly guilty that they weren't there at the time to protect. So their motive was to avenge the death of Lala Lajpat Rai. And there was an incident outside the police station in Lahore where they were going to literally avenge his death. They were going to kill Scott. In a mistaken identity though, Saunders was shot dead. They were all part of the same faction. And this is where the Go Home Simon protests sort of came around, and they were basically, there were areas in India where they were saying, Simon, go back, we don't want you here. And this led to the arrest of Bhagat Singh, where he spent some time in jail. How do you think that impacted the family at the time, where they've found out now that their son is behind bars effectively?
No, in actual facts, he was not arrested at that time. No. To make the things straight, I would say Lala Lajpat Rai went to Lahore. No, sorry, Simon and his commission went to Lahore on 30th of October 1928, and there was there was a procession saying, Simon, go back. And there was a lot of people around, and police started lathi charge. And Simon, Saunders and Scott, they hurled lathis on Lala Lajpat Rai as well, and he died a month after. Then Sardar Bhagat Singh and his colleagues, they took revenge, and instead of killing Scott, they had by mistake killed Saunders, which was more or less the same thing, because Saunders was the one who did the lathi charge, who had ordered lathi charge. At that time, Bhagat Singh escaped from Lahore with Durga Bhabhi, who was Bhagwati Charan's wife. Bhagwati Charan was another revolutionary and colleague of Bhagat Singh, and he went to Calcutta. So at that time he was not arrested. Right. After that he only came out on 8th of April 1929 when he threw a bomb in the Assembly Hall.
National Assembly.
So he was not arrested then.
And his outlook at this time was...
And for throwing bomb in the assembly, he was given life transportation, and he and his colleague Batukeshwar Dutt both were given life transportation, and for killing Saunders, he was sentenced to death. He was executed for that. And in that act, Rajguru was with him and Chandrasekhar Azad with him. Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Chandrasekhar Azad and Jai Gopal. 4 people took that action.
They took that there together.
Yes.
So, and in doing these actions, Bhagat Singh didn't just want the British to leave India. He was actually against anti-colonialism in general. He wanted British to leave everywhere they were occupying and being a part of. So really, his thought was quite universal. And now again, this is somebody at the age of 22 who's thinking quite universally, and we don't see a lot of people like that. So, where did he derive his motives from? We know about the family background of being freedom fighters and fighting the cause. So what other motives do you think made Bhagat Singh the character that he became?
He was a humanitarian, and he wanted all the human beings to be free from slavery. So anywhere and everywhere, wherever there is slavery, he wanted to get that abolished. So when he said, long live revolution, down with imperialism, he did not say down with British imperialism. Imperialism of any type, anywhere, any kind, from anyone. So he wanted to live, he was struggling or fighting for the liberation of everyone and anyone.